All right, good. We're live on all of them then. Another AMA, folks. The Ask Me Anything prompting. All right. Um, Concept of the Ask Me Anything is you can literally ask anything, and I'll try to give you an answer. Can't guarantee that the answer will be high quality, but I will do my level-headed best. And it can be about anything that we do as business art storefronts, or it could be anything that you're struggling with in a marketing capacity, or question about a live show or whatever it might be. Now, to ask a question on Instagram, all you have to do is type it. So, too, on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter. And sort of as I've been doing these things and experiment with these things, um, and thanks whoever's asking me how I'm feeling today. I'm feeling lousy, but that's how it goes sometimes. I got a house full of sick kids. Um, so one of the things that I've figured out in doing these is that you don't always know right away you can ask questions. And most people are like shy to ask questions, right? And all I really want to do is answer the questions. So I usually come up with some topics to rant on. And of course, today is the one where people are actually asking questions, which is a unique change, which I'll take. Um, Internet Eagles, how do you sell and market your pieces? Run a live art show. That would be how I would do it. And someone was asking about cost. Pamela Squires, what does it cost for what? Are you asking what the cost for our services is? I imagine. We have a bunch of different plans. Plans start at $1,000 down and like $49 a month, I believe, and go up from there. But you'd want to request a demo, which you can do. Link in our bio to get a better idea on all of that. Um, Most people will just compare us to a website, and none of you guys have a website problem. In fact, most of you guys don't even have websites, period. How do I know that? And I've got that in my little AMA title, Your Website. So, one of the things that we are constantly instructing our customers to do are the so called things that don't scale. Okay. So, do the things that don't scale. And it's like a mantra in business to be focused on the things that don't scale, i.e., the things that you couldn't do 1,000 times a day, right? And the example I always give is like when somebody does something nice, you write them a thank you note, right? And you couldn't write 1,000 thank you notes a day. Okay. There's no chance you could write 1,000 thank you notes a day. Like your hand would fall off, right? So that's something that can't scale. And so one of the things that my marketing department has been doing recently is we look at the people that request a demo. Okay. And that's like fill out the form. So they give us their website and I get to see what their website looks like. And we go and we audit their website, we audit their Facebook page, and we audit their Instagram account, and we send them a video. It's like one of the things that we've been doing recently. And it's not something that scales, right? Like it's really, really hard to do. But it's something that we've been doing recently. And my goodness, so few of the people, so few of the people that put in demo requests even have websites. Out of the people that do, so few of them are even updated in the slightest. I mean, most of them have broken links all over them. You know, where you scroll down to the bottom and you like click the Facebook or the Instagram to go to that page, and nothing even appears at all because the links are broken. It's like not only is the state of the websites almost non-existent for artists and photographers, um, especially if we're throwing out like, yeah, my website's Etsy or my website's Redbubble or my website's Zenfolio or Fine Art America page. Like that's not a website. That's your site on a marketplace where you don't even get to keep any information of your customers or control or in control the experience at all. So anyway, the state of your guys' websites is in dire straits. Let's just say dire straits. Um, Call of the Mountain Art is asking, how do you get the most out of Q4 sales? It's kind of a loaded question. How do you get the most out of it, right? So let me just kind of give you some of the breakdowns. How you get the most out of them? Step one is actually do some regular marketing and have a sale in Q4. Okay, because 99% of artists and photographers don't. They just let the season come and go. Maybe they try to phone in a sale, but after not doing any marketing, that's not going to work because no one even knows you exist, right? So the idea is let everyone know you exist, i.e., do some marketing, and then have a sale when the time is right, i.e., Q4, i.e., ideally ahead of Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So I would say step one, how do you do the best? How do you get the most out of Q4? It's just show them do something because the bar is so insanely low. Almost no one does anything, right? So just show them do something. That's number one. Number two, um, number two would be do some marketing before you have the sale, right? Like if I haven't heard from you in months and months and months because you haven't been doing any consistent marketing that anyone's been seeing. And all of a sudden, the first thing you do is you come up to my front door and you knock on it. And instead of saying, "Hey, Patrick, how you doing? I was going to walk the dog later. You want to come walk the dog? Your dog too? Or love to see you for a beer sometime?" Or da 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 da. And instead, you were just like, "Buy my art, buy my photography. It's on sale right now, next 24 hours." That's not going to work. That's never worked, and yet that's what so many people do. And even if you can only do that, I'm still advocating you do that in Q4 because it's such an effective, insanely effective strategy. But anyway, for those that are just joining, AMA, ask me anything. All you have to do is leave a comment on Instagram, leave a comment on Facebook or YouTube, and I will answer. And however you want to ask about anything that's going on in your business, anything that's going on with us, our storefronts. We're having a huge sale going on right now that I believe ends in what, 9 days. So you still have time to come in, get your website sorted if you have one. You probably don't. Most people don't. And one of the other crazy moments is like, you know I mentioned myself, my team looks at so many different websites, right? And we see what people have out there, and almost no one has a website in the first place. For those that do, they're not updating it regularly. It's not even about how the fact that it's not laid out properly. They're just not updating it, right? Like everyone builds it and thinks you just build it and then you have it and then that's it and you don't have to take care of it and everything else. Anyway, beside the point. Um, the larger point that I take away from that is you guys all have a marketing problem. You all suck at it. You all need as much help as you can get, and that'll never change, right? And one of the marketers here on staff on my team is a guy named Taylor, and he lives in Chicago. And in Chicago, they have this thing called the Renegade Craft Fair, and it's a big deal. It's a huge deal, right? Like, he was sending me some pictures about it. I'm sitting here looking at the website, but it's been going on for years and years and years. Tons of booth, tons of people. People are running around all over the place, and this is like the 15th year that he's gone, or like maybe like the 7th year that he's gone. I guess probably only known him like 8 or 9 years, so maybe like the 8th year that he's gone. And do you know it never changes at any of these things? None of these people that have booths at this craft fair are asking for email addresses. None of them. Almost none of them. None of them have like a fishbowl outside of their little tent. None of them have some sort of incentive to win a free this, that, or the other if they fill out the clipboard, right? And it's case in point. It's like the level of marketing sophistication, okay, for the vast majority of artists and photographers is so insanely low, okay? It is so insanely low that just by showing up, you're putting yourself in like the 90th percentile. You don't even have to be good at marketing, but just by showing up and doing the work consistently, you're putting yourself in the 90th percentile of marketing sophistication for artists and photographers. I mean, it's sort of crazy. All right, Call the Mountain is asking me what makes a great romance email for photographers. Anything that does not ask for a sale. Talk about your process. Talk about what gear you keep in your bag. Talk about how hard you had to work to get a shot recently. Talk about how you were going and get that shot and you fell in the river, right? And show some beautiful photos. Anything that's just not a sale is great content for a photographer. That's the whole point of not always asking for the sale and instead having some content that's just good and non-salesy and mellow, for lack of a better term. um, yeah, so Alina's asking, this is a feature thing. I had someone reach out to me and ask if I accepted Apple Pay. Is that being considered? I think we already have it. Alina, you might want to ask tech. I know we've got Google in there if we don't have the Apple already, but I know we've got Google already. So, um, and if somebody's asking you, hey, do you accept Apple Pay? Apple Pay at the end of the day is still tied to a credit card, right? So all they want to be able to do is just double click a button. But you know, if somebody said, let's just say the two scenarios, Alina, and I do believe that we already have it. In fact, I'm going to ask, do we already have Apple Pay on the sites? What do they have to do? What do they have to do to activate it? But yeah, anyway, I'm finding out for you right now, Lena. But what I would say is like because that scenario comes up, like, "Ooh, I'm only gonna buy if you have Apple Pay." That's nonsense, right? Like that's a nonsensical thing that they're asking you. They're asking you, do you have Apple Pay? Because I really like Apple Pay. That'd be so cool, but it's not really a buying question because if somebody really wants something, all Apple Pay is a credit card attached to Apple Pay. You're still paying with a credit card. The only thing the Apple Pay is saving you have to do is put in your information. So what I would do is, Alina, I would say, yeah, I don't have Apple Pay yet, but you know what? If you want to just give me your information over the phone, I'll fill everything out for you so you don't have to deal with any of that, right? And you make the purchase mega easy on them. But I don't think Apple Pay in and of itself is like a deal breaker per se. I think that was just like, hey, do you have that? Ooh, that's really cool that you have that. Like, it's a cool shiny object. But again, I believe that we do have it. I'm finding out right now though. I'm asking questions in the chat here. Stripe and PayPal Business. No, Nancy, we already have Google Pay. I know on like the quick cart like subscriber thing. But again, I'm asking whether or not we have it, and hopefully I'll get an answer on this here pretty soon. Let me see. Yep. All right, we already have it. So you can now add Google Pay and Apple Pay. There's a support article right here. I might as well give it to you, Alina. Um, you can just follow this as for how you turn it on. So yes, you already do have it. Sometimes I don't know all the features. Um, for everyone else that's just tuning in, this is NAMA. It's Ask Me Anything. You ask questions, I will answer them to the best of my ability. Um, you can be a customer or not. It's all good. And so Cassandra's asking, what other ways can I grow my subscriber email list besides Facebook and Instagram? I like this question. I just finished my launch giveaway and we'll start the calendar. I only got 4 subscribers. Should I just give more time? Yeah, I mean, you're chicken and the egg early on, Cassandra, and it totally sucks, right? You build email subscribers one email at a time, and it's kind of a pain in the butt early on. You have to like just keep your head down and grind, and it's going to take a little while, and it's like bit by bit by bit by bit by bit. um, but when you launch, like no one knows you exist. Like you have a couple hardcore years of marketing ahead of you, and there's no shortcutting it. But the grass is pretty green on the other side, and every single solitary year you get better, right? Like, at the end of the day, people always ask, like, well, what does Art Storefronts do? We're just trainers, Cassandra. And what do most artists do? They try to do the workouts on their own, right? We all try to do our workouts on our own, right? And how far do we get in those workouts? Not very far. And how hard do we push ourselves in the workouts? Not very hard. And then what happens when we pay a trainer or we work out with a friend to keep ourselves accountable, right? It doesn't have to necessarily be a trainer, but I like the trainer analogy. The trainer yells at you and pokes you and prods you and times you and encourages you, right? Um, and keeps you going in the right direction, really just to keeps you accountable more than anything else. And that's what we do. That's what we do. So, don't worry about the fact that you only have 4 subscribers and that you're just getting started and that you just ran your giveaway. No one knows you exist. And you have to just keep building emails. And it's gonna, like I said, the first year is a grind. The first year of any business is a grind, but this is the first time you've done any active marketing in your life, right? And no different than rolling like a snowball down a hill. Like it will continue to pick up and get momentum and get bigger and bigger and bigger. So don't worry about it. Don't sweat the small stuff. Just work the calendar. Come to office hours and keep going. Don't stop. That's how it goes. Yeah, and don't worry, that's normal. Not like everybody hits it right out of the park, right on like the very first, giveaway. Um, but what always ends up happening is, in my experience, is like you're grinding on your marketing, you're like, oh God, this sucks. I hate working on my marketing. And then right when you're about out of gas, when you're like, I just can't go on anymore, then whether you believe in God or the universe or whatever you believe in, it delivers you a win, right? Like somebody hires you for a commission or buys an original or you win an award for something and then your little emotional reservoir, your gas tank gets filled up and then you just start grinding again, which is always how it goes. But it gets easier with time. And you're based on your photo, Cassandra, you look super young, so the fact you've got this all figured out now is going to be awesome for you. You got years. You have literally 5 decades left of marketing and selling your art. When you have the perspective correct, and I'm eyeballing that off a thumbnail. When you have the perspective correct for how long this takes, um, and how much longer you have, like artists or photographers don't ever retire. I don't know of any artists or photographers that retire. Like you can't turn the creation gift off. Like you always want to be out there and creating and doing your thing. And if you're going to be doing that, why wouldn't you want to benefit from the ability to sell it in all of these years of marketing and hustling and working at it, right? It just gets easier and easier and easier, especially if you do things correctly now. So it's a really fun thing to contemplate. It's a really fun thing to understand and understand. I know none of you want to do it. None of you want to market. None of you want to market consistently. None of you want to run live art shows. You hate being on video. But guess what? If nobody wants to do something, where do you think the highest ROI is? It's always in the one thing that nobody wants to do. Like no artist, no photographers want to work on their marketing. If you're the one that does, you are extremely rare. Okay. None of them do. None of them do work on their marketing consistently in a vacuum. Like almost zero, right? But if you stay at it, if you stay consistent, if you have the trainer yelling at you and encouraging you and keeping you going and you have the perspective, boy, it's a fantastic time to be an artist. You know, gone are the days where the only avenue you had was go join a gallery and take a 50-50 split, and they'll have no idea who's buying your art, which is one of the most exploitative arrangements that could possibly exist, right? Like you're a tenant farmer, you have nothing, you leave with nothing. I will give you some money and some meals. You will work my land, and then when I want to kick you off, I'll kick you off, and you leave with nothing but the shirt on your back. That's what the normal gallery relationship is. It is at the end of the day, because the only way you make it as an artist or a photographer is if you're selling direct, if you're selling direct from your own website, if you're maintaining the information on who is collecting your work, and you have the ability to market to those people in perpetuity. And guess what? You have to market to those people in perpetuity. And if you do, you'll start having a collector list. And guess what happens? Collectors buy your art before you even show it to the public. Okay. It takes you from a commissioned salesperson to a commissioned salesperson with a base salary. And it is the complete game changer of this entire operation. You got me ranting on that one for a little bit there. But for those just joining, AMA can ask me anything about anything. Um, 11 days till Q4. The aha moment, by the way, the aha moment is like, you know, when someone experiences your product and is like, oh my gosh, this product works so well, it's incredible. That's the aha moment, right? Job design into the product experience, the aha moment coming sooner than anything else. And you could argue for art storefronts, the aha moment would be you upload your art onto your website and you get your first sale from a stranger on the website. That's definitely an aha moment. Now we're thinking about the live art shows are so effective. I'm thinking about I don't even want you to put your art up on a website until you run a live art show. After you've run the live art show, then you can put your art up on the website. Or you start your website by running the live art show and using our live art show page because that's the quickest way you're going to get to a sale. It is the quickest way to get to a sale right now. Full stop is just by running the live art show. And if I give no other advice for all of Q4, run a live art show. Run a live art show when the time is right. If that's all you can do, you only have one arrow in your quiver and you can only fire the one arrow, do that. That's what I would say. That's like the best piece of advice that I can give. Um, but in addition to that, what else? Going to be running a ton of these AMAs. We always do that at the end of the month. Gives everybody an opportunity to ask whatever questions that they want. Yes, if you're a customers, of course you guys can ask questions. I love answering your questions too, and I know it really, really helps. Also, we have a sale that's running right now for those that are not customers. You have 9 days left to take advantage of it. I think we will run some live demos this weekend because we usually get pretty backed up at like the tail end of the month. So that's a big deal as well. Okay, Gabby's asking me what's the frequency I recommend for live art shows. You can't run enough of them. You literally can't run enough of them. Straight up, you're going to be running thousands and thousands and thousands of these on a one-to-one basis versus a one-to-many basis for the rest of your lives. And so when I look at that, like, I run 6 to 7 live broadcasts a week. I keep getting better every time I run one. So, look no further than me. I'm running them all the time because they're insanely effective and I know they're the future. Now that works for me. It's my full-time job. I'm getting paid to do this, right? For you kind of just have to do what feels great and what feels awesome. But in terms of a frequency, don't stress about it. Like don't beat yourself up about it. Just do more of them, right? Do more of them. And then what happens? You realize, Gabby, that each one you get a little bit and a little bit less nervous. And then all of a sudden you turn the camera on and then you remember you hate being on video and your heart rate is not even above its normal cadence because you've run so many of them, it just doesn't even matter. Just water under a bridge. And then you start thinking about all the creative ways that you can leverage them. Yeah, you can run a live art show one to many, but guess what? You can also introduce a new sale that you're about to run. Hey guys, I'm out here doing a walk and I just want to introduce you to the fact that I'm about to have a huge flash sale, right? And you're just shipping those and you're just getting so much better at your marketing up and down the stack. So don't stress about the frequency. Just do as many as you can, right? And don't stress about the frequency until you've done 10. After you've done 10, go back and look at the 10 that you've done and say, yeah, that one was my favorite. Maybe I'll try that again. And then go do 50, right? Like that is what the smart marketer is doing right now, straight up, full stop. Okay. Call of the mountain is there a playbook on how to sell your art? How to sell using your website during an art show? Yeah. If you're a customer at Call of the Mountain, which it looks like you are, like inside the vault is how to run a live art show playbook version 3. We're already on to version 3 of this thing because we're making so many changes. So we have special pages that you can use that are really, really, really easy to create that facilitate the live art show. So all of that's ready to go too. So yes, all of that's inside. All you have to do is you can just Google it inside and boom, it's ready to go. So that's what I would say. Yeah. Look, there you go, Gabby. Just did my first show, sold 3 pieces, and had fun. Like the ROI of one single solitary marketing effort, like I feel like, maybe a year and a half from now, enough people will have done it that it'll like truly validate the fact that like that guy knew what he was talking about. Like he obviously knew what he was talking about. And I do. I do this for a living. I gotta look at all your data. Like most people are not just having a random afternoon marketing effort and selling 3 pieces, right? And not only did you sell 3 pieces, you let everyone know that you've got art. It's for sale. You did some merchandising, Gabby. You held it up. You talked about price. You were probably nervous as hell, right? And now look where you are now, right? Like you're in a much better place. Um, so that's what I would say. That's what I would say. That's what you need. All right. So here's what Carl Owens is saying. I like it. You guys should have a department of champion marketers acting as a proxy for the artist and charge a commission on sales. I would have signed up for years ago for the cool art storefront you have, but I don't have time to market like it requires me. I'm sure. Yeah, we get that all the time, Carl, and I appreciate you saying that. Um, I think the dream, right? The dream for all artists, okay, straight up is, and I'll tease something here, and I don't want to. Let me know. But anyway, Carl, the dream, okay, the dream, and this is an important question, and can you guys let me know? Can you guys hear me on Instagram? Can you hear me? And bear with me, Facebook, because I want to answer this for everybody. Um, can someone just let me know? Leave me a comment if you can hear me on there. I used to have super sweet AirPods. Okay. I actually still do have super sweet AirPods, but my wife, it's not her fault, mind you. I'm just saying, my wife washed them twice. And the first time they went through the wash, they worked perfect. Now, the second time, they're done. So now I'm back to the wired solution. And every time I get a phone call, what ends up happening is the thing like derps out and I have to play all these games. And again, I actually kind of love this stuff because it's how you learn. It's how you learn how the whole thing goes. Let me know if that fixed it, and then I want to respond to Carl's question, which I think is really a good one. Okay, I'm going to assume it's working now. Tell me if it's not. Um, so essentially, what Carl is asking for here, okay, great. It looks like it's working. Is you should have a team of marketers, okay, on staff that um, can just run the marketing for an artist, right? Do everything for the artist. And your sentiment there, Carl, is one of these single solitary most frequently heard things that we hear ever. Okay. And what you're essentially asking for is you're asking for art storefronts to act as a gallery, right? Um, a gallery essentially does that for you, right? They do all the marketing for you. Now, by and large, in many cases, a gallery does all the marketing for you. Really, what are they doing? They're paying for a fancy retail location in the right part of town in which people come walking in. But they also maintain relationships with collectors and sell the art that way too, right? The problem that we have with being a gallery, and trust me, the thoughts crossed our mind, is it sort of bucks up against our mission statement, Carl. And our mission statement is, to solve the starving artist problem. Well, let me tell you, There is no way in hell you solve the starving artist problem by putting the artist or photographer into the exploitative 50-50 split, no information to the artist about the collector, right? So, believe it or not, here's where we settled on that thing. We stealth launched an online gallery a couple of months ago, and it's in total beta. We're not telling anybody what the name of it is, and it utterly, totally takes the gallery model and flips it right up on side of its head. One, the percentage split is significantly cheaper. Okay, and it's significantly cheaper to go and pay to pay the artist something more fair. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the artist keeps all the information on who purchases their art. So we already have that in the water, but it's going to take a couple of years to get that thing cooked up and humming and running and rolling. Um, so that's what I would say on that. But yeah, the gallery model is just exploitative, and I'm sorry if you have a gallery and you're watching this and you're like, screw that guy, but it just is. You can't make it as an artist if you don't keep the information on who your doggone collectors are, and if you don't market to them in perpetuity. It just doesn't work that way. It really just doesn't. Um, but I'm curious what you've done in all the years since, Carl. Have you worked hard on selling your art and done a little bit of marketing, or have you just kept creating and creating and creating and not done anything? So if you haven't done anything, like how are you moving the work, right? Like I know you feel like you can't do the marketing, but trust me, you can do it. We can all do it. You have something in common, Carl, with Elon Musk. It's 24 hours in a day, right? Like, you can get things done. So that's what I'd say. All right, I'm running out of horsepower because my voice is going hoarse. But any other questions in terms of the AMA? 11 days till Q4 starts, guys. 11 days until October 1st until Q4 marketing starts. It's not even 11 days. I think it's 10 days. I think my 11 days is off. You get the point. Either way, it's coming soon. It's the most wonderful time of the year, and it is going to be incredible. Okay. And what's up, Helena? I thought I saw you just jump off of Facebook onto Instagram, and now you're back onto Facebook. It's crazy. It's one of the cool things about streaming on all the things at once. You can like pop from one experience to another. I imagine you jumped off of Facebook, went to Instagram, and you're like, I like the Facebook better. I have the better mic on Facebook actually, so it sounds better. But I'm going to be having a bunch of these AMAs throughout the rest of the week, throughout the rest of the month. In perpetuity, I enjoy them. Number one. Number two, I'll bring on more members of the marketing team to ask various different other questions. Sometimes I grab the CEO, Nick, and just know anytime that you see the AMA graphic, either there or there, whatever, I got to point everywhere. Um, they're good to go. You can ask a question at any point in time. You can hammer it in on any platform that you're on, and I'll answer them directly. And yeah, Alina, it's 15% off until the end of the month on all prints. You don't have to do anything. It's already baked in. And by the way, she brings up Bay Photo. I'm working with Bay Photo on getting some guests that are like media type experts for some of these lives, which I think should be really, really cool. Something that we do. So yeah, that's what I would say. I love you guys. Have a great day, everybody, and I will see you on a future AMA.